Welcome to FPTV New Releases, where I am privileged to be joined by an old friend of Forbidden Planet, James Tynan IV. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us live from New York City. Welcome to virtual London. And this time around, we're talking about your Punchline one-shot out from DC. What can you tell us about it, mate?
Well, honestly, this has been one of the real highlights of the last year is, taking over the main Batman title back at the start of 2020 was a huge, I cannot overstate how much pressure there is taking on a title like that and, trying to do something that'll make your mark. And I remember one of the big things that we were talking about up front is like, what could we do to really excite interest in the book and give people something, something interesting, something special. And especially in a world like I was building up towards a big Joker story, but this was a year that was also going to see the amazing Jeff Johns and Jay Fabok working on 3 Jokers. So what's a new angle into the whole Joker mythos? And so there was this character that had been in the back of my head for the last few years, and it was something that I had originally pitched to DC as a as a Joker series that would not feature the Joker himself, and it would be all about a young teenager. In the original incarnation, it was a boy, who was falling into the ideology of the Joker and then starts becoming something dangerous in and of himself, and do a story about radicalization of dangerous ideologies, and use Joker as sort of the emblem of a dangerous ideology. And so as I was building out my Joker, big Joker story that would end up becoming Joker War over at DC, I started realizing that part of how I wanted to approach the Joker was I wanted to bring back the idea of him having a whole bunch of henchmen and a Joker gang, because both in Tom King's incarnation of the Joker and Scott Snyder's has been very solitary Jokers. It's been Joker as the devil, as this kind of solitary devil hiding under your bed, waiting for you to strike. And I wanted to go back to bring in like a big gang and deal a bit in the same way that I've dealt with how the ideology of Batman has affected the city. I think a lot of my previous work in Gotham has been about that, especially through the eyes of the Bat family. And I wanted to do that with the Joker. And what are the impacts of the Joker on the city? Who are the people who look up to the Joker? And, in building out that gang, I knew that I wanted there to be a new number 2 for the Joker, someone in the position that Harley Quinn was back in the day. And so all of that sort of came together and boiled into this idea of Punchline. And it was polished off by this incredible design by Jorge Jimenez, that from the second I posted it in my newsletter at the start of last year, all this, like within days, we were seeing fan art and cosplay and people like really plugging into the idea. And, and it really, at her core, she's a simple character. She's this dark mirror to Harley Quinn, where Harley Quinn fell in love with this like false humanity inside of the Joker. Punchline never believed that there was humanity inside of the Joker. She fell in love with the power of his dark ideology of like, let's tear the whole system down while we're laughing. Like, and just, and especially in a world where so many things are falling apart, how can we tear it all down faster? How can we make this Joker ideology, rather than just focus it on Batman, how can we focus it on the world, and how do we blow it up to the next level? So, all of that really came into this Punchline character who, made her debut in the pages of Batman, and then played a key role in Joker War. But the story that I've been dying to tell with her is this larger story of the spread of the ideology of Joker and the way she positions herself as this kind of mouthpiece to that ideology in the city. Because it's something that I don't think we've seen before in terms of how, it's the legacy of the Joker concept. and the idea of creating a Joker family, like outside of Joker himself. So building all of that out and doing something like big, exciting, and interesting was a part of my goal for the beginning. All of my plans for 2021 had Punchline in a key role, but thankfully the success of the character and the success of her first appearances had brought, made DC reach out to me and say like, hey, we would like to do a Punchline one-shot towards the end of the year. And I brought in my partner, Sam Johns, who is a writer and going through the MFA program at Columbia University right now for writing, an incredible writer. And the two of us, and Sam was there from the very inception of Punchline. So, we had talked so much about it. So in creating this story, it was really... It was a really, really exciting process, and being able to set the stage, like, because that Punchline one-shot, I think it was pitched a bit as like, this is a Joker War aftermath issue. But the real truth is that it is a prologue to a story that's going to run through all of 2021. And this is the starting point for this new status quo, not only for Punchline, but for, the ideology of Joker in Gotham City moving forward. So I'm very excited about that story. And I'm also thrilled that we got to work with the incredible Mirka Andolfo, who's been one of my favorite artists over the last few years. And she just knocked it out of the park. But yeah, the biggest thing that I can say about this is that this is not the ending of a thing. This is not a self-contained thing. This is the start of a big story that's going to be running through Gotham over the next few years.
Mate, I really cannot wait to get into that and read it. And comic book creators of the world, take note. This is how you sell a comic book. That was the perfect answer. That was a perfect 6 minute answer with everything in it. So right from the source here. So James, thanks very much for giving us all that detail about Punchline. I love the Punchline character, and I just can't wait to read that book, and I can't wait to see what you've got planned for 21. Thanks so much for being here, mate. You can order this book from the links attached to this interview. Take care, brother. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.